everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be helping you and myself beat big book fear. I have read quite a few big books in my time as a reader, but I still always deal with big book fear, and I know that there are so many people out there like me that are a bit intimidated by bigger books, and I want to give you some tips that have helped me conquer the big book fear and hopefully will help you conquer big book fear as well. And then we can just look at a huge book like my very favorite book, which is huge, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. We can look at a big book and just be excited by it and not be scared by it. So let's get into my 5 tips for how to beat big book fear. Step number 1 is quite obvious, but that is to take it one page, one chapter, and one step at a time. Setting yourself an achievable daily goal when you're reading a big book can be a really big help because you feel like you are achieving that goal every day, whether it's 1 chapter, 2 chapters, or 10 pages, 30 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages. You set that achievable goal for yourself, and every day when you reach that goal, you will feel like you are making progress. And when you're reading a big book, I think the hardest part about it is feeling like you aren't making progress and that it's just going to keep going on and on and on. But if you make achievable goals, I feel like that really takes that away and makes it feel like you are making progress. Step number 2 is prioritizing your reading time and setting a certain part of the day for reading your big book. For me, I typically like to get a lot of my reading done before I go to bed, and it helps me relax and wind down and gets me a little bit sleepy. I really love creating that part of my day because it's something that I always look forward to, and I know that before I go to bed, I am going to get some reading done. That changes with everybody. If you like reading in the morning before work or on a lunch break or when you have break between classes, depending on what your schedule is like, if there is always a certain part of your day that you either have a bit of time to do with it what you will or to set aside that for reading your big book. Setting that time will always, again, make you feel like you are achieving something, getting something done, and working your way through that book. And I always feel like being a little bit structured with a bigger book is nice, and it'll again help with your progress. When you're reading shorter books and you want to be more relaxed, then I feel like pick it up whenever you want. But I do recommend setting apart a specific time to reading your big book. Step number 3 is accompany your bigger book with shorter books. So that way, again, it'll make you feel like you are making progress with the reading that you are getting done. You are still going to be finishing books while you also read your bigger book. I did this a lot with Anna Karenina especially. I would pick different short story collections, little black classics, plays, poetry, and I would read that alongside Anna Karenina so that I still felt like I was finishing books, achieving my goals. I feel like sometimes bigger books can drag out the reading experience. If you pick smaller books to finish along with the big book, then the feeling of finishing books will always encourage you to keep going with your big book. At least that's how it is for me. Step number 4 is accompany it with the audiobook version. I did this a lot when I read Cervantes' Don Quixote. I love Don Quixote. It is one of my favorite books of all time, and I was reading it while I was going to uni. It was my senior year. I was working on my thesis projects. It was so crazy busy, and I didn't have a ton of time to prioritize physical reading, so I would physically read Don Quixote times that I had the freedom to, and I would also listen to the audio version when I was working on all of my projects because I was an art student. I am an illustrator, so I went to school for illustration, and so all of my projects I was working on different art pieces. I was painting, I was embroidering, I was drawing, I was doing all these different things that I needed my eyes but I didn't need my ears, so I would listen to Don Quixote. So I feel like, and I do this a lot for the Dickens versus Tolstoy book club, especially with Dickens, because his books tend to be very long and quite I just trudge through them a bit. Accompanying it with the audio version really helps me, and hopefully it'll help you. And there are some fantastic audiobooks out there. A lot of them you can either get through your library with the app Libby, or you can listen to them for free on YouTube. There are a lot of ways, especially with classics, like I said, that you can get them online for free. And I really recommend audio versions. I think that sometimes listening to a story, it's like going back to the origin of storytelling was, vocal storytelling from one person to another without it being written down. So I feel like there is so much beauty in audiobooks, and they should definitely be considered reading, in my opinion. Step number 5, and my last recommendation or suggestion, is to have fun with it and to this might be a really nerdy thing that only I do. I love going onto YouTube and looking at spoiler-free reviews or listen to people talk about the book that I'm reading. If you're reading a really big book, like for me, I did this a lot with War and Peace and Anna Karenina and Don Quixote as well, I would do some research into the book, trying not to get any spoilers. Hopefully they're all spoiler-free, listening to different lectures, or even chatting with a friend if the friend has also read the book, and hearing someone else's excitement for a book, especially if it's longer, will get you really excited to read it as well. It's always that mutual encouragement of when you hear someone else fall in love with something, you want to fall in love with it as well and understand that love. So just have fun with it and take your time and don't feel pressured by it. It's just a book with a lot of pages, as is all the other books that you read. It's just a little bit longer. So take it one page at a time, one step at a time, accompany it with the audiobook, read smaller books alongside it, and figure out ways that help you achieve those daily goals. So those are my 5 tips for tackling big book fear. I hope that you guys have found this helpful or useful, and I would love to know what tips you recommend, so please feel free to leave that in a comment. Help me, help all of us conquer that big book fear, and I would love to hear how you guys deal with that, and what big books are on your TBR, what big books are your favorites. I would love to know, and I hope you guys are doing very well, reading some amazing big or small books, or medium-sized books, or any books, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I will see you soon in another video. Happy reading.